Have you given any thought on doing ABM at Dreamdata?
So we are, a lot actually. Also because we want to like slow little by little move a bit more up market, and their ABM becomes a more doable tactic because ad platforms work when it's that size and it doesn't when it's small businesses. So, for example, we're using LinkedIn's matched audiences, where we have built lists of accounts that fit our ideal customer profile, and then run ads towards them. Everything we do is with an account-based focus, you can say.
Do you have any cutoff point for the ABM program? Do you cut off certain companies under a certain amount of employees?
Yeah, so LinkedIn is great for this. You just define how big or small should these companies be before you include them in your audience, and then you run ads towards them.
Can you talk about the specific numbers of employees that you target?
So when we're talking for ABM, I think it's tough to do, and that's mainly due to how algorithms work. The ad algorithms work is that I would say somewhere like north of 250 employees. I think it gets hard to run ads towards these companies that are 50 employees or 100 employees, because they typically just have one or two people working in the function you're going for, and that makes it extremely expensive to get your ad placed in front of them. So that's why it's very nice to do more account-based marketing when you go for larger companies. And overall, this is a more expensive tactic, so you also want a deal size at the end of your effort that is worth the chase.
Do you think it's different to attribute revenue to account-based marketing programs than it is to other marketing tactics?
Depends on what goes into your account-based marketing. It's hard to say. It really depends. What do you put in to that bucket? I don't think account-based differs from other marketing activities per se.
Also, I remember you discussing in another podcast, you mentioned that you should observe that here's a date that we started this new program or new initiative, and then kind of measure the before and after of that, the influence. That's one way to think about measuring ABM, perhaps.
So in that sense, this is more like a specific example of using LinkedIn to run ads. So let's, if we put the ABM like definition aside, and then we had a period where we ran a matched audience of somewhere 1,000 accounts, and the easiest thing to track is people who click on links and arrive to your website with UTMs. But that's approaching advertising as a way for you to get the user to do something that is easy to track. You should do something that is getting the best possible messaging across to the best possible person, like the right messaging to the right person, and then you start by building your creatives around that. Then afterwards, you do what you can to track it. So an example can be, instead of putting in some kind of link in your ad that you want people to click, maybe it's they actually want rather to see a real case with a video, and this video doesn't necessarily get people to click the video, so it's harder to track the video. So coming back to that experiment we ran, we could actually see some attribution directly that some of these accounts clicked the links and booked demo calls. But the biggest uplift we saw came through direct and organic search. And if you know all the other activities you're running during such a period, then you also know that the main difference between this period and the last period was this new LinkedIn ads program. And then I think it's fair enough to attribute in a probabilistic way. I think the technical term is that these two things must correlate. So typically in attribution, you talk about deterministic or probabilistic. And deterministic is this person clicked this link, therefore he is part of, you can do attribution to it. Or probabilistic, then you guess the correlation. And in this case, we had to kind of correlate more than we could deterministically say.
I think you called it common sense as well in some of the podcasts.
I think that's fair as well. I think particularly related to what you do at Market Tailor, don't just think about conversions for the sake of conversions. Make sure that the conversions you do generate then has a strong intent, or if they don't have a strong intent, make sure not to just throw them at the salespeople, because then the salespeople are going to get angry. So only do the handover to sales when there's actually a real intent worth chasing.
We also have this product-led growth motion taking place where we have a freemium product, and our salespeople basically look at those signups and determine based on the email address of the sign up whether this is worth contacting or not.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a bit different when the sign up comes from some other channel, for example, some newsletter. Then it can be difficult if the salesperson doesn't see it.
Yeah, and it's also like a privilege of which stage are you in. Are you just starting out? Then you need to go chase everything. And when you have more some stable demand, then you can be more picky. So any advice comes with a prerequisite of which situation you're in.